welcome back to the Gossip Chronicles with Jen. I have a very, very special guest with you, my friend, Drewski!
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy. Like, I can't even, I even lost words just doing this intro right now because I am so stupid excited to have my guy pal Drew on the frickin' podcast. So, round of applause for my guy Drew.
I'm honored.
Yes. So just a little quick background about me and Drewski. Me and Drew met when he was like 18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say you were 18?
I must have been because I still had my scion, and I lost my scion like when I was like 19 going on 20, I think, right before my 20th birthday. So yeah.
Yeah.
I was at least 19 years old.
And I have to say, it's weird because that Scion was like mine and your car. That just wasn't your car. You know that, right?
I learned, yes. Especially on the 15 freeway.
But me and Drew met when we both worked retail. And I will have to say, it's so weird because I don't remember meeting you. I just remember you being my friend.
I know, and that's weird. I don't remember meeting either. It's just for somehow the only time that I remember is Red Robin when I met Jess, but I don't remember us.
Me and you used to go to Fridays and just like hang out. I remember you were in college and you were like doing notes and stuff, and I was like, I don't even know why you're doing that. It's not going to go anywhere.
Yes, I was. But I don't remember the actual meeting. All I know is we worked at the same
retail store,
same place,
and everything else was history. We couldn't really even work together. Majority of like my friends, I feel like I met in retail. And I feel like that was decades ago. So like so long ago. And it's the best I have ever friendships I've ever had because the longevity, like it's amazing. You shared your car with me and many more stories.
Yes.
I used to basically live at your house.
I know, we were attached at the hip for a couple of years. I think up until you moved
to North Carolina. Yeah,
I think that was it.
He was like, let me just give you like a story, kind of to map out our friendship. So we used to work retail, and at the time, I was dating somebody who was in the military. And very young, very still wanted to go out and do all of these things. And I used to basically live at Drew's house. So it's crazy because I used to always say that like I had like two boyfriends. And you were for sure, because at that time, the one boyfriend was gone. He was deployed, but you were like my everyday boyfriend.
Right-hand man, yeah.
Yes, we did everything. We used to call the party lines together.
To the point where we had the same exact phone.
Oh, and down to the ringtone.
Down to the ringtone, yeah.
Oh my gosh, do you remember that?
Yes. I'll never forget. I'll never forget that.
So, of course, like I just said, I was dating somebody who was in the military. And so me and Drew had the same ringtone, same phone. And we were both passed out in his room. And the phone rings. We don't know whose phone it is because
it's the same phone.
It's the same ringtone.
If anybody remembers the sidekick.
Yeah.
That's how far we go back. But we were actually in your bedroom.
Were we?
In your room.
Were we? Okay. So the phone rings, and it was obviously the guy I was with at the time. And Drew answers the phone, and all of a sudden I hear another male's voice on this other line. And I was like, oh my God, I know that voice.
Yes, and I answered it. And like when you first wake up, how it's like deep and like raspy. So that's how I'm answering, like, hello. And he was like, who is this? And I'm like, and when I looked at the screen, because I could tell by his voice, and I looked at the screen, I was like,
not my phone.
And it caused a ruckus.
Well, and then I had to like make up a lie, and I was like, yeah, we're at work, we're doing a floor set change, because we used to do that all the time where we would work overnight and like do floor set changes and stuff. But dude, that's so wild. Like that's how long me and you go back. Like it's so crazy. But yeah, me and Drew have been friends for decades and decades, and my family absolutely adores him. And his Nina is literally like my idol in life. I remember when I first met her, I was like, Nina, I want to be you when I grow up. Do you remember?
I remember you. I don't know if this is too much, but I remember you asking about her augmentation, because you were like, I want to get mine.
Oh, and I did.
Yeah.
Now, I saved up my coins and I got mine done to be like Nina. So Nina, shout out to you, my girl. I remember too, one time she walked in and I was like, oh my gosh, she smells amazing. And I was like,
Oh.
Drew, please tell me what she wears. And like, I think she left and we went to go in her room and we looked and it was Chanel.
Mademoiselle.
Yes. And to this day, I still wear it.
Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
And then we went and had margaritas with her and I was like, she's the most fabulous person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I want to be here too.
But we're going to start off because obviously last week I did this with Leslie and I kind of want to just see what everybody's cheesemate of the week or month is. Something you want to complain about. So Drew, what is your cheesemate of the week?
Honestly, I think for me is the gas prices. I normally take the same route to work every single day. Turn right on the same street, turn left on the same street. And I pass by an Arco gas station and I'm cheap. And so that's the gas station that I go to.
We all are these days though.
I mean, wherever I can
cut coins,
whether it's 10 cents, 25 cents,
a
dollar, whatever I need to do. And I remember I saw the gas go from $4.99 on Monday, $5.09 on Tuesday, $5.19 on Wednesday. It's gone up
so much.
Today I drove by and it's $5.69 for regular gas.
This is insane.
And see, I have a Jeep now, so my car is a V6 like yours.
Who got the keys to the Jeep?
And so it takes a lot of gas, and I'm learning that, and it's just that's irritating to me because it's expensive. Like at least every time I go to the gas station, no matter what, depending on when I go, if it's half tank, it's at least 60. If it's full tank, like filling up, it's like over $100.
Like, and who signed us up for that? I didn't ask for the gas prices to be like this.
I know, but
it's so crazy because I also have an SUV, and it's one of those things where people are like, "So, Jen, do you want to come do something?" And I'm like, "Oh, where am I at on my gas?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a ruckus nowadays to even you step outside and it's like charged $300.
Easy,
it's done.
Like easy, like, and even with my BMW that I had. Even though it was a V4, I had to get the premium. So I would be paying $5.99 for a tank of gas, and that was over $100.
Do you remember the days where, because you used to live probably a good like 30 minutes from my mom's house when we would like hang out every single day. And
then I found you showed me the back way, and I would always take the back way. But yeah, it was easily like at least a half an hour.
And $20 would get us to and from location, to and from each other's homes. Nowadays, it's like you got a plan. Is it in your budget?
It used to be like, okay, everybody put $5 on gas, and that would get you from.
I'm gonna start telling Amelia, give me $5 for gas.
Put it in the jar. That would get you from the club to the beach, back home, and probably somewhere to eat the next day. Now it's like it's at least.
We would start off in Rancho Cucamonga and end up in Newport with $20 in our pocket.
Honestly, till this day, I don't even know
how we
even got through some of the things. Well, I do, because we started stealing. We'd be at the bar.
Yes.
And like the bartender would like, okay, what would we get? The redheaded slut shots?
Yes.
And I remember we went and we got the redheaded slut shots.
Okay, well, I think we have to give this disclaimer, though, because we attempted to pay. We did attempt to pay.
Okay, we did.
But maybe they weren't redhead sluts. They were some cheapy-ass things.
Whatever it was, the bartender took too long, and I told her, get your ass up and run. And we took those drinks and we ran and we drank them.
Yes, we did.
And fast.
Yes, we did.
So it got to the point where we had to just pick and choose.
Yes.
So, then we're here today.
Exactly. We've survived the ruckus of life.
And if you're wondering, it is it football Sunday?
Yes, it is football Sunday. So we are wearing our jerseys. So hello, shout out to Drewski for the support on the 49ers.
She loaned me this. Thankfully it fits.
It's got a nice little V cut right there. You showing off the goods.
Only if I still had my.
Oh yeah.
But she's ixnayed.
Yeah.
Since I rolled my car. Ugh. We're not going to talk about that.
No, that's a different cheesemate of the week.
Yeah.
My cheesemate of the week. Listen, we live in Southern California, and majority of the time is like people always are like, "Oh, you're so lucky you live in Southern California." It has been so humid the last couple of days. Like, disgustingly. I'm going to say the last week.
So I lived in Florida for a year, and this weather, even though it's not as humid, it's more humid than it normally is in South California.
Yeah, Southern California.
But I lived in Florida, and this weather is exactly kind of like that. It rains out of nowhere now.
Last night it rained. It rained like I woke up this morning and I was
and it was cold.
Cool. Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah, so but they say that this is earthquake weather.
Do not say that because I fucking hate earthquakes. Like, shout out to everybody who lives through hurricanes, tornadoes. I hate earthquakes. Like, if someone says an earthquake is coming, I'm trembling inside. Like, I cannot. I just, no. I freak out. But, yeah, so my chisme is the freaking weather. Like, my hair is curly, naturally curly, so shout out to my curly hair girls. Yeah. But it's a mess. I went yesterday to a birthday party, and I, did my hair. And as soon as I walked outside, I was like, okay, cool. I look like a ragamuffin. Like, I don't know where I think I'm going now. It's horrible.
Was it straightened?
It was straightened, but I had a little curl, like a curl.
And they fell out?
Yeah, it just was like,
Did you end up ponytailing it?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah. And then we went to a jump house, so then I was even sweaty and hot in there. And I was like...
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, it's just horrible. But, Drew lives in a different kind of community than I do, so I kind of wanted to see your community. What is it like, in your dating world right now out there?
Oh, okay, that community. Well, dating for me right now is non-existent. That's by choice, though. I recently got out of... it's been over a year, but I feel like that's still fresh for me. But I recently...
because how long were you guys together?
4 years.
Yeah, so I think that's a good...
And that's longer than some people are married.
Exactly.
Even in the straight world.
I know.
But even in my community, relationships seem to move very, very quickly, whether it's woman to woman, man to man. Kool-Aid, his mom met her, now they just actually got divorced, but she met her ex-wife, and within 6 months they were already living together, and within a year they were married.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if I just feel like with same-sex
relationships,
they tend to just move 10 times faster than normal.
And that's technically with guys and girls. So
yeah, same. Yeah. So
gays, lesbians, and I think to be honest with you, I feel you're somewhat right, because I feel like when me and my boyfriend met, it moved so fast, and I think too age has to do with put a spin on it. Because when I met my boyfriend, we were 29. I was like, I'm going to be single for a full year. I just want to just serial date. I don't want no commitment. I don't want nothing. I don't want no ties to nobody. Just take me out to dinner every night. That's it. And when I met him, it was such a moment of I wasn't even looking for him. We just kind of started talking to each other. And then within a week, we just talked every single day. And then after that week, it was boom, boom, boom. We were literally on each other's hips. We'd never been apart from each other. He went everywhere with me. He pretty much moved into my little apartment with me within maybe a month. And then after, we've never been together. We've been together for almost 9 years ever since then. So I feel like it's your age and the times that we're in. It's very fast. Everything moves very fast.
Yeah, you're right.
So when you and your ex, how long was it until you guys moved? Do you feel like it moved fast too? Or
No.
It took a minute.
Yeah, because I don't want to say I had control, but I want to say I had the say so. And what I mean by that is the first year, we were just strictly talking. And I was like, you know what? As much as I like you, technically you can still do whatever you want and I can do whatever I want. Right. Even though I wasn't, it's I'm still allowing you, I want you to know.
Yeah.
We have no title, we're talking. He didn't sleep over probably maybe 6 months, into us talking. He didn't even sleep at my house. I woke up one day and he was just right next to me and I was like,
was that a culture shock?
I was just, because normally...
you lived by yourself for a good minute before that.
Yeah, at least 3 years. And then, he would normally, like, if he was over, if I fell asleep when I woke up, he would be gone.
Yeah.
And just that one day I woke up and he was right next to me and I was like, oh shit. And then
we're doing this.
After that, about a year, we went to our year like talking anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the second time he had asked me to be his boyfriend.
Oh, you told him no the first time?
I just said I wasn't ready.
Okay.
And then the second time, I didn't even say yes. The second time, we were literally driving home from, there's a place in the Morongo.
Oh, Morongo Casino.
The Prime Steakhouse.
Oh, yeah, the place.
So we went there, and he was driving home. And he was like, it's been a year, and like, will you be my boyfriend? And I just looked at him, and I was like, I'm scared. Because what we had at that moment, like, I was nervous that if we did get into a relationship, that it's all going to go downhill.
So do you think that, obviously it's hard for you to say because you're not technically in like my man in relationship, but would you say the dating community, in the gay community, people cheat a lot more in the gay community?
I've had my fair share.
Is that what you were scared of?
I can't... What I was nervous about was, I don't even know if I want to say his name, but you know who I'm talking about. That's what I was nervous about, because I had known him since we were in middle school.
I thought you guys were going to end up together forever.
I thought that was my number one. I thought we were too. Like, I was paying his bills.
Yeah.
Like, parking tickets and stuff. Like, I thought we were too.
That relationship was your full blown almost marriage material. Yes. Like, you had his back, he had your back. It was very much that dynamic. Yes. And when it didn't work out, I was literally like,
and I think that's it, because for like a couple of months, that option was like, okay, let's do this. I'm like, no. And then I feel like, not the moment I said, yes, let's do this, and we flipped that switch shortly after. And I mean, we were young. Right. We were still young. I think he may have just turned 21. I wasn't even 21.
Exactly. I think that's the hard part, is the age part.
Yeah.
Because my relationship where I was pretty much, I thought that was solid as rocks. Like, I did not think that it was going to come to an end. So I think that what it is the age factor has a lot to do, because the maturity is not the same. The maturity is very much different, and there's cheating, there's jealousy that comes along with it, and in any, community. But I was really shook when you and him broke up. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can ever say I've been cheated on. I mean, I can say I've caught people in the act, technically, or whatever,
doing some shady stuff.
But recently in my recent life, like within the past year or two, I've discovered that there is a lot, and not a lot in the gay community, but I've even seen some of it in the straight community when it comes to the open relationships,
which is so wild.
That's like a lot.
I can't. I applaud people who can be in an open relationship, because I'm a Libra, and I'm very much to my core. We're both Libras. To my core, I am, which is crazy because I'm right on the cusp of a Libra and a Scorpio, and I sometimes feel like I pick up Scorpio
more.
Sometimes it depends. It depends on the situation. But I'm jealous, but I also can maintain it. So like, I'm not like that jealous person who's like, I'm gonna, but I will say something when I feel uncomfortable. Like, why are you looking at homegirl? Why are you doing this? Like, whatever it may be. I'm very intuitive, and I very much see my surroundings. So with me personally, I would never be able to be in a open relationship. I feel like it would eat me to my core, and I would end up.
I know it's a different mindset, for sure. I know it's a different mindset. As if it's for me.
Wouldn't you want that person to like love, like the one person that is your one person who you love and adore, who you cry, you share a shoulder with? To have like a secondary person is almost like, it's kind of weird, no?
there's just so many factors that comes into it.
Yeah, I don't want to use the word weird because I don't want to judge anybody. I just want to say, like,
it's a different mindset. Yes. That's all. That's the only way I've been able to come to terms with explaining it. Is just you have to literally like have that mindset. It's like people, I know this might be a weird analogy, but like, you know, people that like go vegan.
Yeah.
You have to have that mindset to like physically like, no, okay, I can't eat this. I can't drink this. Like you have to literally change and train your mind.
I love a cheeseburger, but I'm not going to do it.
It's just like learning like the things that come along with being a vegan, just like being an open relationship. It's like you have to train your mind and like your feelings, like to know that, okay, I'm seeing my partner walk out the door with and they're going to go hang out with somebody else. And you have to know that. But you also, it's not just them. You also have to think you can do it too. But it's just that whole like dynamic. It's just, again, your mindset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So do you think you would ever do it?
I don't see a reason of being in a relationship like and then like I don't know if I could personally do it in my heart. Now, maybe if you want to try to explore together, as a couple, you're going to explore together. Maybe so.
Because maybe there's a difference between swingers and an open relationship, right?
So swingers is basically like you guys are just going and you
with other couples.
You're just having intimate relationships with other people, other couples, other people.
And then an open relationship
is like we're together, but you can still go and dabble and do whatever you want. But at the end of the night, you're coming back to me.
Okay.
So we don't, I mean, if there's respect in it, you don't bring anybody to your home.
See, and this is where I think that like I'm very much old school because, well, and I feel like a lot, like no one really cherishes marriage like they used to before.
It's not.
Or even just a relationship in that matter, you know? I feel like oftentimes people get married, and I know that you don't get married to get divorced. I totally understand that. But at the same time, people give up a lot quicker. You know, like it's very much like, oh, you have a problem, and I get it that everybody has a breaking point. I do get that because I've been there.
But I don't think it's like
much more than that.
I just don't think it's really looked at like it was back in the day.
Right. No, it's not. It's not sacred. You know what's crazy is I met this older lady and which is so weird because I met her at Starbucks. Oh. And we were waiting for our drinks and she was asking me about my daughter. And she was saying how she has a great granddaughter the same age as my daughter. Mm-hmm. And we got talking and she was like, oh, you know, me and my husband were celebrating it was like 60 years of marriage. And I was like, I was like, that is absolutely amazing. Like to be married that long to the same person. And I asked her, I said, well, do you have any kind of secrets? Like, what is the secret to a happy marriage? And she said, there's no secret. It's called patience. She was like, there's no secrets. There's no how to. It's called patience. She was like, everything is a learning curve. Everything is what you experience, but you experience it together. Whether it's heartache, whether it's triumph, whether it's downfalls. And she was like, I can't even tell you how many times we had no money and how many ups we had. And she was like, you know, I had a son who was very much addicted to drugs, and we went through that together, and we kept wanting to blame whose family was at fault and who. And I looked at her and I said, I love that she used one word, which was patience, because oftentimes nowadays I feel like social media has a big part to play in it because you want this perfect life, you want this perfect image, this perfect body, this perfect family, and it doesn't exist. It just does not exist. So it's almost like family, love, relationships, it's just not valued the same way that it used to be.
I just feel from where her mindset was, that was 60 years ago, 50 years ago.
She had no social media.
That's my Uncle Tom and Aunt Julie. But now I just feel like because divorce is so easy in some cases and so common, there's not that that nobody wants to put up that fight. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Fine, we'll go our separate ways. That seems to be easier than to fight it out and stick it out or whatever the case may be.
It's so sad because you fell in love with this person for a reason. And I get not everybody's perfect. I get it that everybody has like these milestones that they got to get through. But like, if your person is that solid, then you guys will get through that together.
I think I gotta say, I'm not opposed to marriage. I don't think I can 100% say I don't think I would ever ask anybody to marry me.
Yeah.
But if I did get married and it went sour, I'm not getting married again. These people that I mean, this is just me. I don't know if I have the heart for it, but these people that get married 3, 4 times,
I know.
2 times. Okay, I mean, that's a stretch, but people love, and I'm not going to knock you.
I feel like that because, especially with like people like J-Lo, you know, no offense to J-Lo lovers. I love me J-Lo. But I do feel like there are certain people who are serial lovers. Serial lovers, when I mean that, is because they crave to be loved. They crave that feeling of like, it's almost like an obsession, I would say, you know? And it does become scary because you're like, I want to be loved and I want to be loved like this. And you may feel it for those first like 9 months, and then you jump into a marriage and it's like maybe too soon. And I really feel like people should live with each other before they ever get married. And I know that's like a big no-no in some cultures because it's like, no, you can't get married, you can't live together before you get married. But I feel like you have to. You need to know everybody's bad habits, everybody's downfalls, do you snore? Because like, I can't deal with a snorer. Like, I'm so sorry. But
no.
You know what? Me and you spent the night a lot together and you don't snore. You're one person that...
the only time that I can think about that I do snore is like if I'm really intoxicated.
When you've had a whole ass bottle of Chardonnay.
Which has happened. But unless I sleep like back to the ceiling, then that's when I snore. But going back to your initial question, when it took, so me and my ex were together for 3.5 years before he moved in with me.
That's a good amount of time.
And it was kind of life-changing because...
But do you feel like you really, really knew him then? Or do you feel like you learned even more after he moved in?
I learned more.
Yeah.
I learned more.
Which is so wild.
And it was crazy because it was things that I never, over the past 3 years, never saw ever like him do or anything like happen.
Right.
And it was just like, okay, like, and that's when you think like, okay, like, are you doing this just because you're living here with me? Or is this like your normal, like, day to day?
Oh, wow.
But I split up my entire home for him.
No.
From my kitchen to my closet, which I was willing to do. And I was like, okay, you know what? I've never done this before. And, you know, I truly care about this person and I'm willing to do this. And I just wanted, like, if I ever came into this situation where I was moving in with somebody, I would want the same.
Right. The same respect.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, split my closet, cleaned out one of the nightstands. Thankfully, I have 2 sinks. One of the sinks was hit. Like, everything was cut in half.
50-50.
And, you know, I was willing to do that. It just, unfortunately,
didn't work out.
Tables turned, differently.
But, you know, and I think that's the crazy part is that you think you know somebody, especially after 3 years of being with them beforehand. And then when they move in, it's completely, like, different. It's a completely different person. Would you say? Well, I wouldn't say completely, but maybe at least, like, some sort of him was different.
You know, with me and him, it was crazy because we saw each other frequently, but not only did we live together when he moved in, but I was working from home. He was working from home.
Oh, yeah, you guys lived together during COVID.
Yeah. So we were together while living and together while working.
Seriously, 24/7.
Like, if we divided this room in half, I was on this side, he was on that side. So, I mean, we went to spending a consistent amount of time to being together every day, 24/7. Like, there were days where we'd be in the house together all day. Like, we wouldn't even leave. So I don't know if maybe that
did it.
Maybe it could have been some of it.
Well, and I think though too is that sometimes you don't really see everybody's bad habits until you do live with each other. And like when I say bad habits, it's like, you know, maybe you're somebody who shows up on time and maybe he's not. And that could be something that is an irritating factor. Or, you know, you chew with your mouth closed and he chews with his mouth open. Like, it's so crazy that sometimes it can come down to those little stupid things. But those are big things when you are together with somebody, unfortunately.
Especially living together, because it's like, I don't know, not putting the cap back on the toothpaste or something. Like, it gets things like, it gets that minute.
Yes.
Yeah, so I get it.
It gets irritable. You start to accumulate these, almost like, he doesn't do this, check. He doesn't do that, check. It does suck. Yeah, it does suck.
Because when you don't live with them, they are doing that on their own. Yes. So, but nonetheless, it wasn't a bad. I mean, I know it could have been worse, but it wasn't a bad experience.
So what would you say, though? So now obviously that relationship did not work out and you're back in the dating world, into the gay community. What would you say it's like nowadays? Like, are you able to go out to a bar and like meet a man, or do you have to go on dating apps?
Well, I know that dating apps can be easier, because I think a lot of people are braver over the phone.
But what I've heard, and because obviously I'm not in the gay community, but from what I've heard is that dating apps in the gay community are very like,
mainly to hook up.
Yeah.
Some like of them sucio. Are. So some of them are. Yeah, there's different. I mean, yeah.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm going to say it.
No. Like, there's there's different apps for different reasons, yes. And I find that now being for not only, I mean, more men, because we're monsters, but I think it's for both sides. But yeah, some apps can be used specifically for hooking up. Like, specifically for that, and that only. Crazy. Some can be for dating. There's some that are specifically for the Black community. There's some that's like for men that love a lot of hair. Like, it's just
so crazy.
It's cut up. There's one that's basically people that have fetishes. I mean, it's cut up like through a lot of different genres.
And what if you're a person who's like, I just want to live a normal life? Like, where can I find you?
And
good luck.
I don't know. I think that's where you have to pay.
That's when Match comes in.
Yeah, something.
But that's crazy, because you are somebody who has a variety of, you're not just, you're Puerto Rican, you have a half Black sister. There's so much that you could be in, just not in one little, you know what I mean? Like, you're this broad person of so many different cultures. Where do you put yourself?
Wherever I fit. I fit a lot of places. No, honestly, I just go with the flow. And that's one of my biggest things. Like, a lot of these people, not these people, but a lot of guys on these apps are like, hey, what are you looking for? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going with the flow. Right. Friends, acquaintances, even. Like, I don't even need you to be a friend, just acquaintances, friend, chat. If you just want to chat, I mean, just, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are just like one way and just like, I'm here for this and this only, which is fine. But I just find with that comes like with a
problems.
Lot of
I would say I would think that I have a friend who is in the lesbian community, and she often says that it's very hard. It's very, very hard to navigate through dating, because people are so quick to be like, I'm just looking for a hookup, or I'm just looking for like a right now and not a forever. And she's like, I'm trying to find my forever. Like, there's some people out there who are not daters. There are people who
relationships,
just, and that's it. And it's like, where do you go? It's very hard nowadays to meet somebody organically at a bar or like a restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, places that we used to go and like hang out.
Like, I recently met somebody at a bar, and it was just weird because like, he was asking me questions and they were just flying over my head. Really? Like, he was just like, oh, yeah, do you come here a lot? And I'm like, no, I hardly come here. He was like, oh, are you here with just friends? Are you here with somebody? I'm like, no, I'm just here with friends. He was like, oh, okay, are you single? And are you dating anybody? And I'm like, yeah, I'm single, whatever. And he was like, are you not picking up what I'm throwing down? And I'm like, No, he was like, I'm kind of like asking you out. And I'm like, oh.
But then it's like, be more like point blank about it.
Oh.
And you didn't take the bait.
And I mean, we'd exchange numbers and everything, and that's fine. But it's a lot different in person.
I have to tell this story because right now Drew is talking, and like this story right now is just like it's starting to spew out of my mouth. Like it's not holding in. Okay.
Oh, no. Okay.
So there was this one time. So I used to go to the gay club a lot with Drew, and you know, I'm not in the gay community, but I used to love and support him, and I would go to all of these like drag shows and like all of the things.
Yes.
And so there was one night I had met this guy on my own. You know, when I was dating, I had met this guy, and you know who I'm talking about.
Mercedes.
And, yes. And I was like, ooh, this guy he's got money. He had like a little, what was it?
It was like a Mercedes, like two-seater. Like
what was it? It was a
convertible.
Convertible. That's what
silver.
I was looking for. And so I was so impressed with myself that I found this like man. And so I was like, oh, you know, my friend, he wants us to go meet him at the gay club. And I was like, are you okay with that? And he was like, yeah, I'm fine with it. And so we go. And we meet Drew and his friends there, and we were all dancing, you know, and all of a sudden we're on the dance floor, and I find the guy that I go with dancing
behind me. And I'm like, wait.
Meantime, this girl, do you remember, or was that a different time when she licked my back?
It was a different time, but it was at the same club, so that's why you're getting them.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, so we go, whatever, and I was like, okay, but I'm not going to think anything of it, you know, I'm just going to let it go. So that night ended, and then I remember he called me, and he said, hey, I want to take you out for ice cream. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I was like, well, I'm at Drew's house. He's like, oh, Drew can come too. And I'm like, okay, well, you only have a 2-seater car, so how is that going to work? Please tell me why Drew and him ended up like, and I was nowhere to be found. I'm like, well, there goes that situation. Drew stole a guy from me.
No. We did not do anything.
No, it was.
We did not
like
do
that,
anything.
no.
But I think I did go and get ice cream with this fella. I think I did, because he did have, he was telling us like, you know, I just lost all this weight and, you know, I'm getting back to the new me, and he clearly had a lot of money. And so I was just like,
have a lot of money. But
that's for the team.
No, you did not just take what you were trying to steal my man.
I was just trying to drive the Mercedes.
Drew was like, when I told him that, I was like, he wants to take you.
And I was like, really?
I was like, I'm not being shot out by my
That's rude.
Friend.
That's rude. No, that's rude. I don't even know
if I even... something about me? Like, I feel a certain way now.
It says something about him. I think he was...
confused. And I think when you showed up, it was almost like, why am I feeling this way? But no, to be honest with you, I think that was the last time we were hung out with him.
But honestly, I can tell you right now, this man was not her type.
No,
so it would have not going anywhere. We were just entertaining the situation
because the car.
She was dating. She was just oh shit.
No, you're fine.
She was broadening her horizons. It was bringing like, I don't know, light to the fire. It was never going to go anywhere.
No, it was not.
I know my friend's taste, and it was never going anywhere. It was just something that we were dealing with as young human beings at the moment.
Yeah, you got to try. You got to date and error.
We got to play. I mean, we were having fun.
Yes, we did. We did. He took us to some cool places.
He did, and he paid for every single thing. So that's why we kept you around. I don't even remember your name, but thank you.
I have no idea. I don't remember his name either.
I think it starts with an M, but I just think because of Mercedes, I just associated him. But
no, I can't even remember that guy's name. I don't even remember. I kind of remember what he looks like, but he kind of did dress weird.
He was Latin. He was taller than us. He was losing weight, but he was still like on that like verge of like, he's not fat, but he's not skinny.
Yeah.
And he wore like, I feel like a lot of dress shirts.
Yes.
Like he just always felt like he had to wear like, he was always like dressed up.
Yeah.
I felt like, but
yeah. But you know, to be honest with you, I think though too, when we would go back to the gay clubs, a lot of men it was either you dressed as a woman or you dressed up. Like, do you feel like that, or?
I think now it depends, because yes, it was like that prim and proper, very clean cut, like back in the day kind of guy. But now it's like you can wear whatever you want to wear, but if you have a beard, then you're fire. Or you can be out and about, and as long as you have a nice pair of shoes on, you can be fire. I don't know. Like there still are like guys that dress like myself, and then guys that only wear like snapbacks and hats, and then again with the beard, and then the guys that wear like the basketball short. It just like it's cut up to different, I think. And I just think by being older,
right,
there's so many different.
So I would have to ask you then, because obviously when me and you met, you were so young, and now you are mature. What would you say is the big difference between dating in your 20s versus your 30s?
So I would definitely say back in the day, looks were a very, very big determining factor for me. Now,
not so much.
Not so much to an extent, but I mean, I just have to have somebody that has substance, if that makes sense. Like I remember, I don't even know what to call him, but I can't think of a name. I can't think of a way not like the guy that you didn't like. Do you remember him? The Latin guy?
Oh.
Do you remember or no?
Yes. Your very first one?
I think, and then you were like, I don't like him for you.
Yes.
Okay, so if we're thinking about the same person, I literally adored this man. Like I saw him on MySpace. I thought he was the cutest thing on the entire planet. And I ended up meeting him at a party one day. And I ended up going back to his house. And I ended up
always on the phone with him.
Yes. And I remember like I was so caught up with this person, but then I had to sit back and I was thinking, okay,
but you were young.
I have X, Y, and Z going on. You don't even have 1, 2, or 3. Like it was like comparing apples to oranges, and it was just like I liked you so much over the computer screen, and now it's like there was nothing to
substance. That's
offer.
where you come from.
I was going to college.
Yes.
I had my own car. I had a job, and this person had none of those. And I was like, what am I liking? Like, so I think that's the difference.
It was the image.
I loved him.
The image.
But now it's like, and the thing is, I was talking to my friend the other day, is I prefer somebody that's either, this is just a preference, not necessarily what I go after, because my ex was younger than me, but I prefer somebody my age or older.
Yeah. Well, I think though, because of the substance, the substance part, though, you want somebody who's been, I've done my clubbing days. I'm done with all of those things. I want to enjoy. Like, isn't it amazing? I think like when you get to an older age like, let's turn on some good music. Let's open a bottle of wine. Let's chat with one another. Let's cook a good meal, and let's sit on the couch and watch a movie.
But in less than a month, I'm going to be 35.
Yeah, I know. I'm a lot older than you.
No, but a couple of years. But I'm not going to say the age. But what I'm saying is, if I'm liking men that are older than me, these men are now in their 40s, and like it's getting up there. Like the numbers are getting big.
So are the houses, though. And these people may be more established, and I think that's the thing, though, too, nowadays is like, you want to get into a relationship with somebody who has some kind of like, what have you accomplished in life? And I know that sounds crazy because not everybody can accomplish the same things, in life. But at the same time, it's like, you have your own place. You have a good job. You have a nice car. You can go take yourself out to these nice dinners you go out to every single night, Drew. Because you have no kids. All the time. My friend over here is always posting some bomb ass food at some sort of restaurant with some good ass like cocktail at some bomb ass restaurant. And I'm like, I'm at home eating freaking mac and cheese.
But back when we hung out, it was us. Like, we would do that.
Yes,
but
we
now,
would.
It's been 10 plus years. She is a mother, and we live about an hour away from each other.
Yeah.
So it's not as convenient as it used to be, but she used to be that person on the other side of the table. So,
but that's the good part, because we had our fair share. We had our good ass run. I used to live in North Carolina. I don't know if anybody knows that. So like, people often ask me like, why did you want to start a podcast? And I was like, because I'm super freaking interesting. Like, I have so many stories to tell people, and I want to just tell everybody. But to be honest with you, I have to say majority of like my amazing stories come from my friends, because like I said, I was with somebody who was in the military. So I packed up all of my life and I left California, and I put my whole life into my little XB. Remember that little XB?
I had one, yep.
And my dad drove me across the states, and I lived in North Carolina. And Drew and my good friend Jess, they drove all the way from California to North Carolina to come visit me. And I have to tell you, that whole situation was a debacle.
From the moment I got on that 210 freeway, and I think it was the 40 that brought us all the way
you take
through.
the 40 the whole way.
We were in a Nissan Sentra. I remember I've never ever eaten so many Subway sandwiches in my entire life.
Why are they at every stop? Like, they're literally at every stop.
We stopped at every single Love's.
Truck stop. Every single truck stop.
Every single truck. Let me tell you. But we made it there. I followed this girl across the United States. I went to go live with her when she lived in Arizona.
Oh, yes. That was amazing. I wish you would have stayed.
I travel anywhere that I need to for her. But yes, I remember North Carolina was, from the moment we stepped down, I don't even know the city.
Sprayed. We got pepper sprayed. Jacksonville. I used to live in Jacksonville. Shout out to all the people in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
Jayville.
Yes.
Got pepper sprayed.
We went to some clubs out there. Yep, we got pepper sprayed. I almost tried to fight some girl because she was looking at my then man. And
this was back in the day when those compact cameras were like your go-to. Yes. Lost my camera in a super Walmart, and I think that was probably the first super Walmart ever been in.
Yeah, we were trying to put on cowboy boots that did not fit
because I really wanted some boots.
I was traveling down the main road going 22 miles per hour, and he was like holding my foot down. He was like, go faster.
Every single fast food place closes like at 9 o'clock out there. So I was making her prowl the streets because I wanted fast food, and we were going so slow, and I was pushing her kneecap like go faster. But it just didn't work.
No, it did not.
But out there, I don't know what, we need to increase the hours to at least midnight because I'm hungry.
That was so much fun though. I honestly think that like
cherry vodka.
Oh, vodka.
I'll never forget. I remember pulling out of her freezer just cherry vodka, and I don't think I've ever had it since.
They probably only sell it in North Carolina.
Ew.
Yeah, I can't even, because our friend Jess, she is notorious for taking her shoes off everywhere she goes. Shout out to our girl Jess, who just got married. So she'll get so drunk, and she will just want to shake it on the floor, and she will just take off her shoes, and we'd be like,
I see it now. Her her feet were black.
We were like, where are your shoes? And she'd be like, I gave them to the DJ.
No. And she has like an arch in her foot. So it's only that like specific part that's black. And then it's the one spot that's just white. I'm like, where are your shoes at? And she'd be like, oh, the DJ's holding them for me. What? When did you get up to the DJ booth?
No, she crawled her way up there.
And she would be the ones to get on like the pedestals and the blocks and dancing on top of shit.
Yes, she was a silly good time. I love her. She still is. she's just a mom now. We all are. So life changes.
She's been a mother, but she's a mom of 2 like young kids.
Yes.
So she's a full-time mom. And she's a great one.
She just got married. She had so many blessings in her life.
She just got a new home.
Yes.
So.
Amazing life. But I can't even think about like my whole youth without like there's certain people that bring certain things to your life. Mm-hmm. You are one of them. V's one of them. Jess, of course.
Melissa.
Oh,
for sure.
Mel's
that's
always.
Like probably number one. Yeah.
Dorina, of course.
Oh Doreen's.
Can I tell you? So Drew used to he used to always make me go to gay clubs. So I used to make him go to clubs with me as well.
I did. I would go to Sevilla's.
He would go with me. And I have to tell you, not even Sevilla's. That was our like emo days. Yeah. Our emo days.
I went through that quickly.
Yes,
and
you did.
And I think you might have what is that? Brought it out of me a little bit, like
because I don't think you did. Yeah, because the scarf. Oh,
yes. Okay.
But so we used to go to this country club on Wednesday nights.
The Branding Iron.
Yes, the Branding Iron.
And it was college night that night. So everybody from like the San Bernardino, like
all the surrounding areas, Riverside, all the areas.
I went to JP, so I would go. Yeah.
Yes,
and I think if you showed your college ID, you got a discount.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
just to get in.
Yeah.
Okay, so we would go, and I remember Drew was actually you weren't of age to drink yet, but he had an ID, obviously, and he got wasted. Totally wasted.
To the point where I got kicked out.
No, not just kicked out. His ass was sitting on a curb, and they called me over the intercom.
The police were on. They had their lights on me.
They called me over the intercom and they were like saying my name all loud.
Like,
come get your friend. He's sitting on the curb. He's intoxicated. And I was like, no, my Drewski. And I was like, oh my gosh. So of course I go out there and he's like in this vest.
Was it like one of those reflective vests?
No, it was a vest.
Oh, like one of my dress vests? Okay, yeah. That was my go-to, yeah. Okay.
He was wearing a vest and he was sitting and he looks up at me and he just had the biggest, saddest eyes. And I was like, Drew, what happened? He was like, I got kicked out because I was drunk.
I felt violated. That was the first time.
I was like, and I was like, okay, well, what now? He's like, we gotta go. And I was like, I'm not ready to leave.
So I think I had to stay in the car or something like that until they were ready.
Yeah, I don't remember
or
what
Jessica
we did.
took me home, but yeah, it was a spotty night. I got kicked out.
Yeah, it was fun. But hey, when I used to go with you, I used to take photo shoots with hot dogs.
I'll never forget. I have proof.
Oh, I think you have to tell the story because I think that you tell the story the best.
I think you...
No, you called me. I was at a baseball game. I was wearing flip-flops and a Hurley shirt.
Okay, it's so different because I remember we were at this guy's house in like... I don't know where we were. Not Orange County, but we were somewhere out there with like Melissa, and you invited me over and they were having like a backyard party. And you invited me to come and hang out, and I came and I hung out with you. And then after the party ended, me and you went to WeHo and we left your car there.
See, I don't know.
I know you had flip-flops on, those rainbow flip-flops, I'll never forget. And you had a yellow shirt on.
A yellow shirt.
We weren't ready at all, but I was like, West Hollywood was that was the first thing I would know because that's all I did back in the day.
Yeah, the gay community.
So I brought her and that's where we stole the
back.
That's what I'm saying. I think that's when she just moved back. So it was like, oh, like we just kept on like trying to do stuff together. And, we went to the club. That's where we confiscated the shot.
The shot skis.
Yeah. And then after that, they have the people outside on the curb and they cook those bacon wrapped hot dogs.
They're so amazing.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like, let's get one. I don't know who paid, but we ended up getting 2 hot dogs. And when I tell you,
probably nobody paid. Knowing us.
She wanted to take photos with this hot dog like it was going to be the last one she ate in her whole entire life. She took a picture by a taxi with the hot dog.
With a drag queen.
She took a picture with a drag queen with the hot dog. She took a picture after she took a bite out of the hot dog. Then she took a picture while taking a bite of this hot dog. And it wasn't just wrapped in bacon. It had onions, mayonnaise, mustard, ketchup. This hot dog was her friend.
No, this hot dog was a celebrity.
And they became one that night. I've never seen anybody enjoy a hot dog like that. Like to the point where like we were taking a picture and the hot dog was to the cheek. Like, and then the biggest smile, like, oh, like I'm the happiest person that has set on this earth. Her grin, you know, when people are saying smiling from ear to ear with the hot dog, and it was still wrapped in everything fresh. You could probably still see the steam coming off of it.
I'm gonna tell you why right now, okay? I have to tell you why. Because I lived in North Carolina where nothing, like it was such bland food. There was one Mexican restaurant.
And she took us there the first day.
Yes. And even then, like their food wasn't like that the best, you know, but
it was like Mexican food from North Carolina.
Exactly. There was no Mexican in there.
It's okay, North Carolina.
We love you.
No shade. It was just that one restaurant. We're not making fun.
No.
We're just saying that one restaurant.
But that was the thing. I missed like your street food, your tacos, your, you know, all of those kinds of things. So like, I think that was like the first event that I went to. And I was like, oh my, it was like heaven in
wild
my mouth.
And out.
Just
like it was
food.
Andrew. No, it was Jen, the hot dog, and Andrew came along.
We literally have a whole photo shoot of me and this freaking hot dog.
And if MySpace wasn't, I had so many photos on MySpace.
I know. What happened
They're gone
to MySpace?
now.
Don't you miss MySpace days?
When I logged in with my information, it was somebody totally different. And I had nothing, no photos or anything like that.
Yeah. We went to a car dealership one time, me and Drew, and I like totally made up a lie.
No, multiple lies. She said she made an obscene amount of money. And I looked and I was like, you don't do you make that much money? She was like, shh.
You knew where I worked.
I didn't. But she worked 2 jobs.
Yes, I did.
And I didn't know you worked at Express before me.
I was a hustler,
and so I didn't really know how much money she made. But when she put that down, money. How do you make the money? And she was like,
yeah. So we went there, and I was like, yeah, my husband's on leave. He's this and that. And then I was like, but this is my boyfriend, and you should have seen the car dealer's face. He was not sure what to do with himself, but I made up this I don't know what it was. Like, okay, if my family, shout out to my family, if they tell you, oh, Jen used to make up stories when she was a little kid, I did. I don't know why, but I still do. Like, I think it's fun. Like, if you go into a store and you're like, let's pretend that we're rich, but we won't buy anything because we're poor as fuck. And that was one of the things. So me and him, I was like, Drew, I need a new car, but I can't afford one. But let's just go test drive cars. So we would test drive cars. And then of course, you know, when you test drive a car, the car guy is like, come sit at my table and let's see if we can run some numbers.
Work some numbers, yeah.
And I was like, well, I felt bad for him because we totally took him on this like wild goose chase of a ride.
Do you remember what car you drove?
I think it was a Scion.
Was it?
I think it was.
A TC though, right?
Yeah, no? I think it was a TC. But I had a TC. And then I got rid of that. And then I got an XB.
Okay.
But, you know, so anyway, so I go up to him and I'm like, yeah. And he's like, so who's going to be paying for this? And I was like, well, my husband will be paying for it. And then he's looking at Drew because Drew's sitting next to me. And I was like, oh, not him. He's my boyfriend.
And he was like, and that's when he was like he had to like think about that because he looked at her
Drew,
like.
At the time used to wear like foundation and like do his eyebrows and like, so he probably was looking at us like, what the hell is going on right now?
But that wasn't the only, like that became like a running situation. Like she'd be like, yeah, like I'm married, I'm married, but this is my boyfriend. And everything. And it just was like, yeah, that's me. Here I am.
He just went with it. It was the best thing ever. And then we used to go on the party lines all the time. And we used to give out people's phone numbers.
I used to get in fights with people.
Not because of me.
Just in general.
Oh, because it was fun over the P lines.
Yeah, and then we
shout out to people who used to call the P lines because they'd be like, meet me on the P lines.
A fucking room 4. And the number was like, what was it, like 909 something something, and it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, and be like, you're welcome to the P line. And I'd be like, this is Rocky and Ruby in the house. Yes, I was Rocky, she was Ruby, so we'd be like, what's up?
With names. Yes, you were Rocky, I was Ruby.
Yeah, and I'm like, Rocky's in the house, what's up? And they're like, fuck you, fool. And I'm like, what's up? And I'm like, I would like go to the next room, like, boop, boop. You're now in room 3. And then people would just be going off like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's up, Rocky and Ruby in the house? Well, I was Rocky hard, and I stayed being Rocky.
Yes, I staying Ruby.
Yes, I stayed in room 4. So if anybody was in room 4 and you came across Rocky and Ruby, what's up?
I'm not gonna lie, dude. You sound so like the room. Welcome to room 3.
I swear to God, it was like, welcome to room 3. And then all of a sudden you hear people like, bah, bah, bah,
yes, they'd be like, where are you from? Oxnard. I'm from Oxnard.
I'm from West Covina. And I'm like, no, go to the next room. Welcome to room 4. How many rooms was there? Like 6?
I don't know. I feel like there was 100 because we would just bounce from room to room. We're like, no, this room's whack. Go to the next room,
bro. But I used to judge people legitimately off of their. If you ever went to people's homes, because back in the day, house phones were it.
Oh, for sure.
Before cell phones.
Oh, yes.
And I would be so mad. I'm like, so your phone doesn't have caller ID?
100%.
So where's the caller ID at?
How do you know who's calling you?
So it's just a blank phone. Do you have 3-way? Like back in the day,
do you have star 69?
Like, right? Did you have to pay extra for that? You had to pay extra. Like, what is star 82?
No, star 69.
Was you call them back?
Yes.
What was star 82? Was it like when you unblock? See, that's how old we are, you guys.
Yes, when you used to
have to block your number, I think it was star 69, and then if you unblocked it, it was star 82.
I think you're right.
One of those, but that's how old we. Some of these kids these days don't even know.
No, they won't. They will. Your phone forever tells you who's calling.
My little sister was watching I don't know if it was a documentary or just something on Instagram, and the new age people, they were like, how do you answer the phone? And the kids were like this. And she was like,
no.
They were like, that's how you answer the phone, like this, because kids are so used to FaceTime opposed to like going like this.
Yes.
That's how it is now. People like...
No, my daughter, she doesn't even know what a phone was. We went to Best Buy, and they still have phones for sale there. And she was like, what is this? And I said, that's a house phone. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, oh my gosh, my kid doesn't even know what a cordless house phone is.
My Aunt Jolie still has one. And it still rings.
Stop.
And it's nobody.
It's bill collectors.
All the time. Like, why do you even have that? My aunt one day, at the condo before she moved out, I called her and I'm like, hey, like I called the house.
Calling.
No, I called the house and it's saying this number is no longer in service. Like, what's going on? She was like, oh, mind you, this was like 10 plus years ago, but she was like, we haven't had a phone in like 3 months. I was like, oh, coming from somebody that only used their cell phone for emergencies, like you only use this as an emergency only. Now nobody ever uses home phones.
I know, which is so wild. I think we should bring home phones back.
Who?
If I got a home phone, would you call me?
No.
Why?
Because I always FaceTime 9 times out of 10.
He FaceTime. He was in Palm Springs, sitting at the bar with
alone. That's where it's come to. I go to the bar alone now. Yes, because I don't have time.
But I have to give it to you. Congratulations to get to that.
It took a while.
Get to that step in life.
Because I got tired.
I love that people are like, yeah, I have dinner by myself. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
My friend Annie does it all the time. But it just got to the point where, like, when I would go out there, I would go with somebody specifically every single time.
Right.
And you can only pull you and that person's weight for so long.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, if you don't have the means, then you can't come. So why am I going to stop myself from going? So it was weird sitting there because, you think of people obviously are looking at you and they do look in like, oh, because I still do. Like, oh, poor thing.
You just go like this. Oh, cheers to you.
But yeah, I was there. I was drinking my bottle of wine. I was watching my little phone. And after that, I got up and I left. But
I think that's the cool thing about when you get to a specific age in your life, because then you have no F's to give. You just say, I don't give a fuck.
I guess, because
right?
unless you're paying you're
paying my bills, exactly.
Then I ain't got
nothing to say to you.
Nothing to mean, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think is your future is gonna hold? Do you think there's a wedding for Drewski in the future? Do you think there's kids in your future, Drew?
There's absolutely I'm not having any kids. I'm not opposed to being with somebody who has children.
What about adoption?
No,
not for you.
Because I'm waiting for my little sister. She's kids. The one. So what my Nina is to me, I will be to those children. Yeah. That's going to be my kids, but I'm not. I've had 2 offers previously in my life, and I've turned them both down. And it's just because I don't know if it might be a little bit selfish, but we all can be a little bit selfish. But right. I'm just thinking, if I don't want any children of my own, why would I bring a child into this world? And
for somebody else, yeah. Which makes sense.
The things that me and you have gotten into have been minimal. Right. Minimal. But if you ever sit and think like, what if Amelia was in this situation? Right. That's what makes me think. I've been in situations before, and thankfully I've gotten out of them. And I'm like,
if a child.
What if my child was in this position? Like, yeah. What if and I mean, I don't know if that's a good, but people, I admire the want and the feelings of people that actually do endure wanting children. Right. My Nina was one of those.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So I understand
you were that to her. You were that to her.
Me and my sister filled that void for her, and she's made that known.
Done an amazing job.
Yeah,
she truly has.
But it's just no kids for me. No, and that was kind of one thing that was a hiccup in my last relationship. Is he wants children
and you didn't. So how is that in the gay community? How is that? Is that something you guys talk about right away? Or is it something that you gradually get to? Because I feel like with me personally, I always knew I wanted kids. Like me and Mel used to talk about having kids. Like, I can't wait to have a kid. And like, we just always knew we wanted to be moms. But how is that in the gay community?
It depends on the person, I feel, because I just recently was at Long Beach Pride and I was at a bar and actually met a guy. We exchanged numbers and we had went out. And he actually was like, oh, like, do you want any kids? And I was like, no. And it was like a
moment of like, this ain't gonna work.
Like, it was just like, he was like, really? Like, you don't want, and then like, it's okay. To each is their own.
Right.
And like, he kind of like was making little jokes like throughout like the date, like, oh, like, look, that could be us and this and that. And it just was something that I'm just like, I don't have the, like, now if he already had children.
It would be different. Well, because you take on their life.
I would.
It wouldn't be like we're starting a new life together.
Like, there isn't going to be no Andrew and this person. They're welcoming
a family.
No. Like my dad, including me, has 4 children. Me and my other brother, and then 2 girls. And the youngest girl, a couple of years ago, was living with my cousin, and my cousin took guardianship of that child.
Oh, right.
And things went bad, and my cousin was like, I just want to let you know, like, hey, this is the situation, and child services might be calling you.
Which has got to be so hard. I feel so bad for people, not just you, Drew, but like other people who go through this situation with a guardianship situation like that. That had to be intense.
Well, it was hard because it's just me.
You never had kids before.
No, and then imagine like a teenager. You're coming in at a teenager level, and you are being asked like, "Hey, can you take in this child?" After the child has done all these different bad things.
Not only, but to other people.
And but family. Right. Not even to other people, but family. And then that person wants to come and live, and it's just like, I'm not equipped for this. I can't do this. And to be shunned by some people who even don't have children was even like a harder pill to swallow.
Right.
But
you took on that task for a quick little minute, and I'm going to tell you, Drew, you did it pretty well.
When her and my dad lived with me? Yeah. Because I brought her and my dad in, and they lived with me for a while. So you're right.
You did. You take it on pretty bravely. I probably would just been like, no, that's not going to happen. I can't do that.
And it was sad because I didn't have any help. Like, it's not like anybody else was, and I don't expect anybody to step in.
When you cooked dinner, you cooked dinner for them. Like, it wasn't just you. It was like you accounted for them as well. Like, you weren't selfish.
Because they're my family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust me, I have my own kid, and I would not be able to think of someone calling me and being like, hey, you're a family member from another state that you don't even know. You had no relationship with this person at all, especially your dad. I think you're rebuilding a relationship with him pretty much, and then to add on this child that you don't really know, you know what I mean?
It's just sad to see one person have so many different children, and to see that you don't have a relationship with any of them.
Right.
And I'm the oldest out of 4.
Yeah.
So I think with my maturity level, I don't feel bad for my father because he's paved his own way, but I see in a different, like, a different light, like, okay, like, you're kind of alone.
Right.
Like, you don't have, and I mean, we live in the same state, so it's easier, but I just
he didn't always live in the same state. And before that, you barely heard it from him.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So it's just, you just know when you are the bigger person, but not in a bad, I don't mean in the bad way, but like, you just kind of know your place.
Generations are so different now, though, too. Generational turmoil is something, there's something that has to do with our parents' upbringing versus our upbringing. Like, my mom paved a different way for me and my brothers and sisters, and I feel like they taught us, like, you got to get out there, get, whether it's getting a degree or whether it's you got to get a good job. It was always something like you got to make it work. And my brother's a hustler, my sisters, like, we've all done something so big to be able to support our own family. So, and you're one of those, Drew, like, you and your sister, think about it. You guys can take care of your own, really.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just...
And I think that just comes from, again, like, seeing situations that I've been put in.
Right.
And things that I've gone through. It's like, why would I want a child to go that? Not necessarily saying they're going to have that life, but just seeing the stuff that I've gone in, like being homeless.
Right.
And like stuff like that. It's like, why would you? I mean, you never know what the future's going to hold.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, the shit that I went through, I'm not trying to go through that, which I don't ever think would ever happen. But I don't.
Well, because I feel like within the gay community, it's something different, because you can't, obviously, a male and a male can't have a baby. So it'd be like you'd have to seek out the right person, or you'd have to find the right, because in those cases you have to find a woman who would be willing to carry for you, right?
And normally it's easier to find
the woman
best friends, like
they did for you when they sought you out.
Or exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Perfect example. Yep. Or just adoption.
Right.
But yes, exactly. Like seeking best friends and stuff. And I respectfully declined. I was like, you know what? Like, I appreciate you guys. I used to see them walking in the grocery store. I'd be walking, just grabbing my own groceries, like, hey, what's up? And I was thinking to myself, like, imagine if you were just pushing my child. And it even got to the point where my aunt was like, okay, well, if this is what we're going to do, let me call my lawyer. We're going to get a contract. We're going to do this. We're going to do that.
No.
It got really, really hot.
So fast.
Real quick. And I'm like, what's lawyers coming in? She was like, because we're going to see that child. Like, I'm not going to be able to not see that child.
That's
like
Nina.
And it was just like, I'm not going to do this. And I even went to their house and I was like, look.
I can't do it. My Nina will say
no. I just was like, look, like, if I don't want any kids, I can't imagine like bringing another child into this world. I'm so sorry. I appreciate, like, from the bottom of my heart.
I gotta say though, I give you that your honesty is amazing, because there's a lot of people who would just either A, do it because they want to make the other person happy, or they would be like, I don't know how to tell them no.
And sometimes I do think, like, what if? Because they found somebody. They recently found somebody within the past couple of years. They found someone.
Them, yeah.
So kudos to them. Yeah, but that didn't make me feel any type of way.
Right.
It did make me think, like, that could have been me.
Right.
That could have, but it didn't make me feel like I was losing out or anything.
Because
unfortunately,
wouldn't it be amazing to see, like, what your little self would look like?
Yes, because even my mom, she was like, have a child, just please have a baby for me, I'll take care of it. Because of my because of my little brother. She still is.
She wants to carry on the name.
Yes, and that's why I'm like, wait for Mandy. Mandy, she speaks of children, my sister.
But it won't carry on the same name.
It won't, but
the name
it
won't.
will still, she would still have that void that she's trying to fill.
Right.
It just ain't going to be from Andrew.
Well, and especially because your mom's not technically that same last name, right?
For me, Torok?
Yeah.
Yes, my mom is.
Oh, so that would be a carry-on name.
Yes.
So I do see she wants you to carry on the name.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, though. I'm sorry.
Do you think somebody could change that for you? Maybe the right person?
I'm 35. Like,
and
I don't, like, I appreciate
Listen here,
motherhood.
No. Kourtney Kardashian was what, 42?
And
43?
But that's okay. That's okay. That's all right. But I just think to myself, that's perfectly fine. That's fine. People that, like, what was Janet Jackson, maybe 50?
Well, 50.
That's okay.
But did she have a healthy delivery?
Not sure.
Me either. I'm
but
not sure
what I think of is just what my friend has gone through, and it's like his parents had him and his sister. They were twins at a late age, and they were like 51 and 54. And unfortunately, they're no longer here.
Right.
And that just makes me kind of sad, because it's like, you
live without them because you have them so late in age.
And I mean,
I get that.
But see, then that brings me back to when I say, I know people want and live to have children. I saw this couple that I worked with. They went through, what was it? The artificial insemination.
Yeah.
They went through all of the birthing, taking the shots.
Yeah.
They went
Hormones.
through all of that, freezing the eggs. I mean, they've gone through every single step that they could, to the point where they were even considering, okay, we've exhausted all of our options. The only option we literally have is adoption.
Yeah.
And they got pregnant with their miracle baby.
A natural baby.
Yes, natural. And
it just takes time.
Like, it's just that wanting of life. I honor it, and I'm so for it, but nothing that I've ever wanted.
Right. And I think your honesty is amazing, because there's a lot of people who aren't as honest. And I think that not even just giving a little bit of intuition into the gay community, but I think that your insight as far as what your community may or may not want. Not everybody wants to have kids, and I think that's super, super important to know.
Yeah, not everybody wants kids.
Yeah, so I think it's amazing, everything that you have gone through, and I think that your growth is amazing as well, because I remember the little, I wouldn't say boy, like, you weren't a boy, you were still a man when I met you, but I remember just obviously you being different to... He said,
How? I want to know.
Because, Drew, oh my gosh, when I first met you, you were in Roselle.
Okay.
And yes, you lived with Nina.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like when we both met at that time, we were so much into, man, we just wanted to party. We wanted to get to the next club. We wanted to see the next scene. We wanted to, oh my gosh, we were so infatuated with Hollywood, I think. Not just Hollywood, like, Hollywood itself, but I think the money, the glitz, the glamour. Like, I remember you like, man, I want to be on Bad Girls Club so bad.
I know. See, and I still want to be on reality TV. I've tried out for the real world multiple times. Yes, I think, I think you can say that as well.
Yeah, I feel like what it is that you kind of just grown up to be like, this is where I'm at. You have your own little place. You got your job. You go and do these, like, you're in a bowling league, for crying out loud.
Ew, I know. And you know what? I love my bowling league, and it's so much fun, and I'm so happy for the people that I've met, you know.
On your bowling league?
I do. I am very grateful, but it is one of those, like,
you're on a bowling league.
Eye-opening moments, like, wow, like, I'm literally
on a bowling league.
Like,
it's almost like I'm on a bingo club.
Right. I mean, it's just like one of those things, like, you know, but yeah, back in the day, I mean, I had my little Macy's gift card.
Yeah.
And I would go and spend my little $25, $30 on my shirt for the night that we would go out, and it would take me 6 months to pay off that shirt. Yes. But I got the shirt. Worth it. So it was one of those back in the day, yeah.
No, but that's the thing is, like, it's so crazy because me and Drew have been through so much together. Like, I think some of my darkest times have been with you as well, and like my crazy times. So
I remember being in the back seat of a car with her and just going through commentary like, look, you see this, you see what's going on, you see this, you see that. Like, it was just like, I don't want to say Bonnie and Clyde.
But Bonnie and Clyde. Yes. Yeah. I think that it's an amazing thing for anybody to be able to experience a friendship like this, because even like there could be times where we don't talk for like, you know, a while, and it's not necessarily because you don't want to see your friend or you don't want to talk to your friend. It's just because life becomes different. Like, I have a kid. I have a child. And we're like, you have a Yorkie. That's your child. Is the Yorkie. But just different things happen in life. But I will say, in my early 20s, my early upbringing, like, this guy was an essential part of my life. So I'm so grateful for the relationship we have, and I really hope that he finds your person. I cannot tell you enough that I hope you find that person, because you deserve it, Drew. And if you're out there and you are like, you know, like, come on, do you see this gem of a man? Look at this dime piece. Hello, dime piece.
But yeah, I mean, when my mind maybe opens up to that again, it's just,
you'll find your forever. In the meantime, he's gonna be a skunkarita. You know it's true.
Shut up. With that being said,
yes, thank you guys so much for listening. I have a feeling you're going to be back.
I need to be back. Like, I feel like this is just dabbling. Like, I got my foot
in the door,
and I'm ready for more.
Stay tuned for the P-Line. Room 3 coming up.
Rocky and Ruby. Don't ever forget it. We're coming at you live next in Room 3.
Yes.
Coming at you, Room 3.
We will be back. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Gossip Chronicles.
Peace, sign, and love.
And yeah, wait, because we have so much more. This was just a skim surface of my Rocky
and why don't you guys send us like some ideas that we can speak about?
Yes, please.
We'd love that, and we can continue moving forward, and then maybe we'll have the
a little situation. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I love down. That because I feel like you bring some cool little limelight and a different dynamic to this. So yes, please slide into the DMs. Please send us messages. Please, wherever it is you listen to your podcast, we are now on YouTube as well. So please, please, please.
She's probably going to tag me, but if not, you can find me on Instagram at Drewski. That's with 3 I's. DREWSKIIIE.
Thank you guys so much. We love you so much.
Thank you. Until next time. Bye-bye. I'm still here and I'm in the mix.